Hi, I'm here with Vinny Borgesi. Vinny is just getting ready to head off to his first year of junior hockey. We're going to talk a little bit about his youth, his career so far, some of the experience he's had, and we'll go from there. So, Vinny, if you can, just tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, how old you are, when you started playing.
I'm 16 years old. My name's Vinny Borgesi. I'm heading to Tri-City next year. I'm from Philadelphia, PA. My youth hockey career started at Voorhees and then Pennsauken in New Jersey. Played for Comcast when I was growing up. Then headed to Minutemen and now Selects, and now I'm headed off to Tri-City next year.
That's great. So, when you started, how old were you? 4 or 5 years
I
old?
was I was 3.5, and I started in Voorhees, New Jersey, but I actually started on figure skates, so that was a little awkward. But that's how I started skating, and then my dad, when I was 4 or 5, said, "You got to switch to new regular skates," and I cried for like 5 days straight about switching over. But that's how it started off. So
Yeah, so three and a half, that's pretty young. Did you
yeah,
have is hockey in your family? Did you have anybody in particular that introduced you to the game, or it just sort of fell in your lap?
it actually just fell in my lap. I mean, my dad played in high school a little bit, wasn't really a big hockey guy, but as soon as I touched the ice for the first time when I was 3 years old, I loved it. I fell in love with it ever since, and I still love the game so much. So that's how it really started.
Yeah. Was there anybody in particular that, as a young player, you sort of emulated, you looked up to? I mean, you grew up right by the Philadelphia Flyers arena,
Yeah,
and I'm sure they're your go-to team. But is there
yeah.
a player, whether with them or somebody else, especially as a defenseman, that you could say, you know what, I really like the way he plays. I want to model my game after him.
I mean, I was really young at the time. I really didn't look at that, but I did grow up right across the street from the Flyers Stadium. We love the Flyers. I mean, we go to the games all the time. So, I mean, when I was young, we went to a ton. So I fell in love with that. And then I was like, I want to be here one day or something like that. And that's how it really started.
That's great. Um, for you, a big topic right now is multi-sports. And should you specialize? Should you not? You look at a lot of guys in the NHL and they play multiple sports growing up. For you, do you play other sports? Is ice hockey it?
When I was a kid, I played in the off season baseball and golf. I loved baseball in the summer, but I fell in love with golf too, like 10, 11, 12 in the summer in the off season. And um, it's just kind of weird, but it helped my slap shot a little bit. I was in the course every day swinging, and my slap shot got stronger by that. But I mean, I play golf and baseball in the off season a little bit still. So
So you definitely think there's parts from each sport that you can take from that sport and apply to your game.
yeah, definitely,
Yeah.
definitely.
And I'm sure being on the golf course in the summertime is a nice way to relax and chill.
Yeah,
Not as
yeah,
fast paced as being on the ice.
yeah.
Oh, that's great. So, for you, Vinny, you started out young. If I remember correctly, your dad was, coaching you and your team, and you started to put together a group of kids that, for the most part, kind of stayed together, that core for quite some time. Is that correct?
Yeah. We started about Pee Wee. We started, I think, and my dad put together a group of kids, and we expanded every year with better kids. And I played up my whole life, so I played with 2003 birth year until I was 14U. So I played up first '03, which really helped in my career actually. My dad stopped my last year at Virtua 13U. Tony Vos took over. We had a really good group, but for the most part, we had a really good group for 3-4 years there, and I really think that helped me get to the next step, playing with older guys, battling to practice every day, and just with stronger people, and helped me grow. So
Right. Now, I watched, obviously, when you were real young, probably around 4 or 5 when you started playing, and you, like you said, you always played up, and that challenged you both physically, the pace of the game. But then there also came a point where a decision was made for you to go back to your birth year. Can you
right.
dive into that a little bit? Were there particular reasons? Was it a size thing, a safety? Just what was your process as you went through that?
So my last year at Virtua, the kids were getting really big. Puberty started to hit. Multiple guys, and I was getting crushed a little bit. And I told my dad, next year might be a good year to step down, just for like the guys were getting bigger, stronger, and I was a late bloomer, so I really couldn't compete with them. So I stepped down and I went to Minutemen. But when I stepped down, I thought I was gonna tear it up a little bit at Minutemen, but that wasn't what happened. I struggled a lot actually. So when I moved down, I'm not gonna say I was cocky, but I felt like I can do whatever I can because I played with older birth year my whole career. So that really taught me a lesson. I can't really do everything myself. Got to be a better teammate. So I struggled my first year with all that stuff. So, I mean, I think that was really a big part in my career, a step, just with with yourself. You need to be a better teammate, respect your coaches, because I went in thinking that I was going to do everything, whatever. And that wasn't the thing. That wasn't at all. That's not what happened. So.
Right. So it gave you a different perspective. You learned,
Right.
I am coming down. I've been playing up, but this isn't going to be as easy. I can't keep doing, whatever freely I'd like to on the ice. There's structure, there's team camaraderie, and, and in your case, you probably had the ability also to help raise the level of play for your teammates and providing that experience of playing up for so long. And, I've tracked you a long time. You've always been on a top team.
Yeah.
I mean, as long as I can remember, I think your teams have always been ranked in the top 5 in the country.
Yeah.
But that to me also shows competitive nature that you've surrounded yourselves with, that willingness to compete.
Yeah.
Do you think that is something that helped when you went down to your birth year at the 04 level? Do you think bringing that experience could help also with the team that you were moving to, and being able to use some past experiences playing in high level games, even at a younger level, could translate to that 04 year when you moved?
Yeah, definitely. My compete level's always been at the highest it can always be. I'm a big fireball of the team. So when I came down, I tried to bring all my firepower and just push it to this team as much as possible. So our first year was pretty good, actually. I tried to bring as much experience and past of what I can do. So I brought positivity. I was one of the leaders on the team right away. I really didn't know most of the guys, but they respected me. So if a teammate didn't have a good shift, I picked them up. That was my big thing. It was more so my second year though, after when I was really the team leader. I loved my second year, and I really carried the team. I felt not on the ice, but off the ice. The locker room was great. Everything was great. I felt it all carried from my first year that I brought from the older guys. They're more mature, the older guys, and I brought everything down I thought I could possibly do to make these guys just as good as my old team.
No, that's great. Using past experience to help influence the group that you're with is it's a great thing, and to know that you're able to do that is awesome. So you go through then that's 2 years of Bantams, correct?
Right.
And then you're hit with a decision that I think you were probably kicking around for a little bit of time of, do I need to move away? And I think every hockey player has his own path, and sometimes some kids leave a little earlier than others. Others wait till they're 18 or 19.
Yeah.
Your situation just happened to play on a younger side. Can you talk a little bit about how did you guys navigate as a family to make that decision, and what ultimately transpired?
So after my 14U year, we won the USHL playoffs at Minutemen, and I said to my dad, I want to take a step now. I want to be better. And he's like, all right. So we thought about it a little bit, and we gathered a couple schools, and I picked Flex Academy because first, 15U, it was a solid birth year. We played 70 games last year. The coaching staff was awesome last year. And when I told my dad, I said, I'm a kid that's dedicated. I really don't have that much distractions, and I wanted to leave home. So we picked Select Academy, and it was the best choice I've ever made because I was in the middle of nowhere, which is really good. I loved it. We were in the middle of a farm, actually, and it was nothing but hockey in school. And that's what, like, I really wanted to do for this year, like, to become, like, make a big step in my career. So I went to Select Academy, and I was in the gym. I was at the rink all day. I did my school, but after that, I was at the rink all night, all day, working, skating. So that was a big part. Like, that's what I wanted to do. That's, like, I'm dedicated, like, no distractions. So this year was really big for me, I thought. I worked really hard. But yeah, I mean, it was really a big step for me. So
Sure. Now, you and I, we've skated a couple summers in a row, spending some time just working on skills. And so for me, I know your dedication. And as one of your coaches, I can appreciate that significantly. I've always said you're one of the hardest working kids I've ever had the privilege to work with. And, you take that dedication and that work ethic and you applied it this year to make a decision to move away. And if I'm not mistaken, something really positive came from that. And sort of mapping out, the next couple of years for yourself. If you can dive into that a little bit, and I guess we'll start with the big commitment of determining college and, one of the younger guys to do that. If you can talk, how did you go through that process and what you did there to make that, and then we can dive into some other big events that happened this past season that I'm sure a lot of people would love to hear.
So I'm going to push it back a little bit further. I'm going to go back to STX. So when I was 14, I didn't get selected for STX, and I looked myself in the mirror and I said, I want to be better. Like, I want to push myself more. So we lost that year in the AYHL playoffs, actually. And I said to my dad, I said, we got to hit the gas here. Like, I got to hit the gas. So from there, from the STX selection, I didn't get selected. So that was a little bit of firepower, like, right there. Like, it gave me a push. So when I was 14, I started working out and everything. So I'm working out every day from there on. And the next season hits, and I worked really hard that off season. And the first weekend, I played really good in September of the next season. And my dad, on the way home from Boston, was like, where do you want to go to college? And I was like, and I looked at him and I was like, you're asking me this and I'm 14 years old. And, well, he's like, Northeastern just offered a full ride. And I'm like, and I looked at myself and I'm like, holy crap. Like, so we really talked about a couple other schools, but my parents really pushed for Northeastern, which I loved it. We went to go visit when I was 15 the year after, and I loved it. So my parents are really big on education-wise too. They want me to be educated. So we picked that as a family. We love the school. So, yeah, I mean, their hockey program is really good. The last 10 years, they've really been pushing guys to the next level, which is really awesome to hear. So all that stuff's really good, and we're happy that we picked that school. So
that's great. And obviously a ton of tradition there at Northeast on the hockey side. The program has really, found its way the last couple of years, especially.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that's going to be a great opportunity for you in the next couple of years. And then following that commitment, you were selected to play in the Youth Olympics. What was that like? I mean, that had to be a pretty eye-opening experience. You said you went just, a previous year from now making one event to now being on an international stage and playing with the best of your peers out of the U.S. and in the world. How was that? That had to be a really neat time.
Yeah, so at school I worked really hard every single day, and it was late November, like closer to Thanksgiving, and I kind of knew about it, and I really wasn't thinking about it at all. And as it got closer, I started to think about it a little bit. Like, I knew the coach was coming out to watch the kids and whatever, and we were in Buffalo, and it was like the selection week of the team, and the coach calls me out of the locker room. And the coach of the Junior Olympics is out there, and he's like, we're going to select it for the Junior Olympics. And I was, like, in shock kind of a little bit, because I'm really a kid that really didn't I didn't make STX, like I said. Like, I'm a kid that didn't really have, like, good luck being selected in a lot of other things before, you know what I mean? So I'm just a kid from Philly. So, I mean, he selected me, and me and my dad were shocked, and we were like so happy about it. So we fly out in January, and we get there, and it's awesome. USA does a great job with like taking care of the players, food, equipment. They have everything you need. I was out there for 3 weeks in Lausanne, Switzerland, and it was basically I got treated like a pro for 3 weeks straight. It was awesome staying in the village with all the guys, all of the kids from around the country, around the world, actually. And the rink had 10,000 people when we played, which was awesome. The atmosphere was crazy. But I'm saying, like, the top players in the country at my age are just awesome guys. I mean, USA does a good job picking, like, guys that are really positive guys like me. Like, they're really not, like, I'm going to use the word toxic. Like, there's no bad guys on the team. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I mean, the group of guys that we had out there was, like, unreal. I loved it. But, I mean, everything about that trip was just unreal. I mean, from the village to signing autographs to 10,000 people in the arena. I mean, it was amazing. So, another thing, my family came out there. They came to watch. They went to France for a couple of days, which was awesome. So, I mean, it was great all around.
So it's a great hockey experience, something that you'll probably never forget. You were
Never.
also able to have your family be a part of it, which I'm sure had to mean a lot to you. And family is something you've brought up a few times already in this conversation. And big decisions being done, with you, your parents. I know your dad really well, and he's been there a long time. Can you speak on that? How important has having family there and helping you, especially because you're making big decisions at a young age and, not a ton of experience yet through life, and you're kind of learning as you go here. How important is it to have a good support group around you?
So for me, like you said, with the commitment at a young age, like I'm just a 14-year-old kid just trying to play hockey. Like I'm just having fun, and my parents are big, like making decisions for me, helping me out, making me help me think this through as a young kid. But my dad's done a lot for me, like for my whole hockey career. He's driven me to every lesson, paid every year for hockey. And for me, like when I made the team and I saw them in the stands cheering full 10,000 in the full stadium, I kind of said, wow, like this kind of paid off a little bit. Like I was happy for them. Like they were happy for me. Like they were having a ball in the stands. They were going crazy. So, I mean, I felt like that trip, like it kind of paid off my dad a little bit, but it just felt good, like to have them cheering and coming like across the world for me to come watch me play. So that just felt really good.
That's great, and I'm glad you could share that with them. It's I'm sure for your parents it's probably an awesome experience as well.
Yeah.
So what's next? I mean, now you're at this point. You're going to be 16, or you are 16 now.
Yeah.
Right. And so what lies ahead for you? Where is your next journey going to take you for the 1920 or 2021 season?
So last month we got the news that I didn't make the national team, which was another gut punch. So we're going to head out to Tri-City next year, which will be really fun. I'm looking forward to it a lot, actually. I mean, I'm 16 going into juniors next year. I mean, I'm going to have to work hard, but that's me. I mean, like I said, like I didn't get picked for STX. Now I didn't get picked for the national team. So it's just, I feel like it's more and more motivation for me, which is really good. It's been like that my whole life for me. So, I mean, I'm working hard every day. So, I mean, next year will be fun. I told my dad I wanted to take the step this year and play juniors. So I'll be playing against older guys. I know I'm going to get squashed a couple of times, but I wanted to take the step this year and like try to make another big step in my career. So that's what I really wanted to do this year. So I'm going to go out there and work my butt off, do what I do, and try to have a good season. So
one of the things I'm finding as we're going through these interviews is even guys that have reached the highest level, the NHL, It's not all roses and all the doors aren't open.
Right.
And there's challenges, there's adversity as you go through this. And you just mentioned two things right away of the STX, now the National Development Program, and you just played for Team USA,
Right.
a couple months ago. And the other challenges, and you and I have had these discussions one-on-one. You're an undersized defenseman,
Yeah.
right? So you're 16 years old. How big are you? So people know.
I'm 5'8", 5'8.5". So that's the biggest I am right now. I'm hoping to grow a couple more inches, but we don't know. So,
Right. So you're not 6'4", 220, but you
right.
play defense.
Right.
Right. So to me, that shows, as a coach, it shows a couple things. One, you have to have phenomenal hockey IQ to navigate your way through the ice from the back end. You have to have an insane amount of compete with inside you, because you're going to be facing bigger guys, stronger guys, and the willingness to go battle. And I've always said over the years, like, your competitiveness is phenomenal. I admire it, and I think I think that's something that will continue to grow as you get older and you start to have a little more success too. But with that adversity, how has that helped you in a way? Does it motivate you? Do you get discouraged? Because there are many players who, a little bit of adversity, and I'm sure you've seen it, right?
Yeah.
A little bit of adversity, what do? They crumble.
Right.
They quit. The mental part of the game is so difficult, especially now, because players they're getting better faster, and it's becoming more competitive to earn a spot at the next level.
Yeah.
How do you handle that? How do you handle when people tell you you're too small, or you're not going to make it as a defenseman at that size? You should move to forward, because those discussions have happened, right?
Right. Yeah.
You don't make NTDP. You don't make STX.
Right.
Is it fuel? Is it frustrating? How do you interpret it?
For me, I'm mad a little bit after the first couple of days. Like STX, I was pissed off for the next couple of days. And then with the national team, I was really mad because, like you said, I just played across the world with USA. So for me, I'm mad for the first couple of days, but then it starts to kick in. Like, I want to get better. Like, this makes me want to be better. It's motivation for me. I would never, like, I'm the type of guy that would never crumble. Like I said, when nobody's watching, I think I work the hardest. Like, that's my main thing. Like, behind closed doors, in the gym late at night, like, that's me. Like, I don't stop working. Like, those things I feel like happen to me for a reason. You know what I mean? Like, for me, nothing was never smooth sailing for me. Like, I've never had the easiest road. So for me, it's all motivation. I mean, I'm working every single day. I know that I'm working as hard as I can behind closed doors when nobody's watching. That's when I think, like, I get my best, like, strength and motivation. And then I get to prove, like, everybody wrong on the ice after that. So, I mean, that's what I really do. I would never, like, I'm not the type of guy that would sulk on them things. So I use all that, like, I'm not going to say bad news, but the news I didn't want to hear as motivation, like, make me angry and make me want to work harder to become a better player. So
that's awesome. I think a lot of players, especially young players, can really learn something from that. I think too many times they get cut from a team, or they're not playing in a position that they feel they should be playing in, and they quickly want to either put blame or pack it in and be done with it, where in your case, that's fuel to your fire. I'm going to prove you wrong. I'm going to work a little harder. I'm going to do a little more. And ultimately, at the end of the day, that's going to be the things that really pay off for you as you continue to go down your journey to get to where you want to be. As we kind of wrap things up here, you're headed to the USHL next year as a 16-year-old. You're going to be a junior in high school playing in the USHL in Tri-City. Awesome experience. It's a great place, and you're going to be away from your family a little bit further than what you did this past year, but with the right mindset of what you want to accomplish while you're there. It's a great league. It's in a great atmosphere. If you could look back and you see the next little Vinny Borgesi who's hitting the ice at 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, I mean, what advice could you give to a young kid based off of your experience? Hey, this is what you have to do. What would you pass along?
So for me as a small guy, like I know a lot of small kids, and I'm like, just keep working, work. As a young kid, I skated all the time. My dad drove me all the lessons. I loved it. I fell in love with it. Like, that's what I think you need. I think you need motivation and you need the love for the game. You need to keep pushing. Like I said, I didn't have a smooth sailing road, and not a lot of people have that. So, I mean, you need to work and just love the game. You got to have a lot of passion for the game and keep pushing and pushing. It's not easy. Like, if the game was easy, everybody would play it. You know what I mean? Like, everybody would play if you told a little kid you're going to make the NHL when they're 7 years old. So you got to work at it. So, yeah.
That's great, man. Hey, I appreciate you taking the time. I think you're still, hitting your midpoint of your journey. You've had some amazing accomplishments so far, and you hit on a couple things that, to me, I really take away. Number one, it's your work ethic and your commitment and your ability to just continue to push, even facing adversity. And then the other part of surrounding yourself with a very good support group, and whether that be your family or your teammates. I think you're a product of your environment, and you definitely show that. And I think I know that a little more than others, just knowing your family so well. And the other part is, you said your dad drove you to the rink all the time, but that was because you wanted to go.
Right.
And
right.
If you don't love the game or whatever it is you're doing, you're not going to be successful at it.
Right.
So for us, I can't thank you enough for giving us the time to shed a little light on your time in the sport. What is to come is going to be great to watch. As a friend, as a coach of yours, I'm excited for you. I can't wait to see how the next couple of years unfold. I'm sure it's going to be a really entertaining time, no doubt.
Thank you.
How you attack the game in such a great way is great. You're going to have a lot of little kids, I think, really starting to watch you and start to emulate you and put your skill set into their games. No different than you did to the guys that were paving the path for yourself. So with that, we thank you. I want to wish you all the best of luck with great things to come.
Thanks, Coach. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, buddy.